Yeah. Bitches Be Ballin' is back after a week hiatus. I hope you guys aren't chomping at the bit for us to be here every week because sometimes shit happens.
That's
And
life.
it's life, right, Kayla?
Right. That's life.
But
Yeah.
we got so many views on our last episode. Nasalifia, thank you if you're listening. Thank you again for coming on. Josh
He
Lloyd,
crushed
thank
it.
you for promoting it. We got some new subs. We got a lot of views. Like, let's keep it going.
Yeah. These bitches are balling right now.
So continuing on that track of just being badass, we've got a badass bitch that is joining us this week. Her name is Erica. Let's bring her in.
Here she is. Welcome.
Hey, Yuri. Hey, Kayla. What's going on?
What's up, Erica?
Yeah.
We recently met Erica, who used to lead the product design team for the Yahoo Fantasy app. So, very relevant stuff to this podcast. And so, we wanted to just like get to know Erica, listen to her origin story, how she got into, being a product designer, how she got into Yahoo and then fantasy and what she thinks of the whole thing and then we'll just go from there. What do you think, Kayla? Does that sound like a plan?
That sounds great to me. And I think it's so amazing that you're on here because Yahoo is my favorite fantasy platform. So it's awesome
Oh,
to have you here. Welcome.
hey, cool. Well, it is fantastic to be here. Firstly, bitches be ballin'. Damn. That is the best podcast name out
Right?
there. Hello. Yeah. I'm so
Yeah.
stoked to be on talking with y'all. So thanks for having me.
Anytime. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
So, Erica, tell us about yourself. I want to know actually, because we're all into like personal stories and shit because our backgrounds, our family, our upbringing,
Yeah.
they shape who we are as human
Mhm.
beings. And I think it's important, especially women, professional women. Like, I think I don't want to like ever treat anyone as like cookie cutter, So tell
Yeah.
us as much as you are comfortable revealing about yourself, Erica.
Oh, amazing. Let's go deep. Let's go. Let's do this. Well, hey, I'm Erica Loh Jones. I'm a product designer and I grew up in the SF Bay Area. So I'm in Oakland, California now, Bay born and raised. And so, yeah, I've just been lucky. It's been a lot of great opportunities out here. Mostly my family's out here. So I am a second generation Chinese American, and family is really important to me. And staying in the Bay Area where my parents are, my cousins, my aunties, and uncles, it's really important for me to grow these roots, especially with having an 11-year-old daughter who's also into sports and everything and being around family. And the Bay culture has been really important. So, yeah. So, born and raised here. I was always into kind of art and design. Never great, really academically at school. Was okay, but really creative endeavors was really where my heart and my head was at. And honestly, being a child of immigrants, I needed to figure out how to make that shit work. Like, how do I make money at it? How do I create like financial stability? I had never heard of generational wealth before, but that was something that I didn't even realize was really important to me. And so when I started thinking about what I wanted to do with my life, I looked around and realized there was this great career called graphic design, and you could actually make some money at it and not go broke. And so I thought, great. That was out the gate. That was really important to me. So in high school, I was like doing a bunch of art classes, doing a bunch of other stuff like that. And then I went to community college first because community colleges are a great way to get into schools when you don't have a lot of savings to go do that. And so I did a couple years at Chabot College in Hayward, and then transferred all my credits over to California College of Arts and Crafts. I did a graphic design degree there, learned a lot of great stuff. And so coming out of there, I had a graphic design degree and was then just really looking towards like, how do I put that craft into business. And so I worked with a lot of, nonprofits that did a lot of great social justice advocacy work. That was really important to me, to give people a voice and to be able to use design as a tool of communication. Not dissimilar to all the things that I do still today, right? Design is a really important communication tool and advocacy tool. So working for a number of different nonprofits were really important. I had multiple hustles at once, so I did that. I was also working in, the .com era. So I worked for an online lottery at one point while I was going to school. And then at some point, I also got involved in magazines. And so I was the creative director of a magazine called Hyphen, that's based out of Chinatown, San Francisco. And it amplifies the voices of Asian America. And so we told a lot of untold stories and created media around the Asian diaspora. So that for me was something that I did with a lot of passion and love, and met a lot of amazing art directors, writers, artists, photographers, etc. through that, and really learned the business of like editorial and publication. So that work also kind of rolled into, for me, working at Wired magazine, where I worked for a few years and really got to know the publishing industry. But also importantly, that was my kind of like transfer moment into digital design. And so I worked on the interactive publication for Wired, and learned to tell stories in a much different way. And so taking a print piece and figuring out like, how does that translate into a digital experience layered with rich media and slideshows and videos, and how do you capture an audience in a very small amount of space? And so at that point, that was really cool, like learning that kind of skill. And there was a time there that work then got me noticed by a recruiter at Yahoo. So with Yahoo, it was a very interesting time in my life. Like many good things have to come to an end. Wired went through some layoffs. I was cut at that point. And when the recruiter at Yahoo reached out, I was kind of open and interested. I was also quite pregnant at the time. And so that for me was like, okay, cool. I will have a conversation. Let me learn about what Yahoo is doing. I hadn't really kept up with what they were up to, but I knew that they were being led by a female, executive. And so that was really important for me to check that out. So had some great conversations there, and went on to start working at Yahoo. So I was at Yahoo for 11 years, up until this past October. But while at Yahoo, because it's such a large organization, I was able to move around through and try out different teams and work on a bunch of different products. And so that was definitely my entry into product design. I started there as an IC, an individual contributor, worked on some really interesting stuff on the website. But that for me was cool, but I had just come from editorial. So I needed everything to move a lot faster. And it wasn't enough innovation for me. And so at that point, I had made some really great contacts within the organization. And my creative director was really looking to kind of expand what he was doing and figure out his next move within the company. He was working on a new design language. And so he moved over to this team called Mobile and Emerging Products. And that was really cool. So I said, okay, cool. You go over there and then you bring me over. Then we'll both be over there. So that's what he did. So he figured out how to move himself over there, started the Yahoo new design language at that period of time. So when I joined was 2013, and, moved over to the next side of that business, helped work on design language, but I knew there was more to work on. And so my new boss at the time, I'd moved under another boss, and he said, just like, look around, tell me what you're interested in. And so diversity has always been really important to me. Diverse teams, diverse makeup of people who build these products, and being on those types of teams is really key to building great things. And so I looked around, I saw the sports team. Sports data is fun. It's so interesting. It's so juicy. And they were building really cool products. I was very curious about fantasy. And they seemed like
you liked sports.
Yeah. So I grew up kind of watching sports on my own. I have a very athletic family, but hey, I'm like more of an art person, not super coordinated, but I am competitive. And so for me, like sports.
You had to spend some part of your childhood on a soccer team though, right?
Oh my God, I did not. I played a little bit of youth softball. I mean, my daughter plays softball now, and she does travel, and both my husband and I are on the board of Oak Girls Softball League. So shout out OGSL. But yeah, I mean, like I grew up watching a lot of like college basketball. I grew up watching a lot of like hockey on my own, a lot of like college football. Later in life, because of my husband's grandfather, I got really into NASCAR, like stupid, like stats, and like very nerdy about racing and decision making, and like when people pit, and like when do they, like all of that ridiculousness. But yeah, I just love sports in general. I love all of it, and mainly I love how it makes people feel. It's like it's
totally
like vibe, right?
And it's a community.
Yeah,
Inevitably.
It's a total community.
So you saw the sports kids in the corner, and you're
I saw the sports kids in the corner, and they were so cool, and they were like just like really interesting people, like, and like a diverse makeup of fan bases. So for that point really is that like I felt like maybe they needed me as much as I needed them. I think I needed to bring some of this like, female energy onto the team. So so I wanted to be there. And so I had a lot of support, moved on to the SIG team, and in 2016 helped launch the first iteration of Daily Fantasy. So we launched Daily Fantasy together, and I worked with them. And
so were they protective of their turf when you joined? Like, how did the whole introduction and then becoming a member of the team, was it a smooth transition, or was it like a little bit like turf wars?
No, it's funny. It was very collegiate. So once you're in, you are in. They are down to ride for you. So I have to say that I was really, really lucky. And I felt lucky. Like I felt it. Like people took me under their wings. They were excited to have me there, and they wanted to show me like the ropes. And like I didn't know a lot of like traditional things at that point, like a lot about like really deep, in-depth stuff about rules and how things were played, and a lot of stuff. I'm just like an excited casual fan, to be honest with you. And so
with design chops.
Yeah, with design chops, exactly. And so they were really cool, and just, help me muddle through all of it, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there weren't a lot of women. So I would say that on our floor that we had in Sunnyvale, working in that building, I basically had my own bathroom, to the point that I started decorating it for a while.
George Costanza.
I mean, like bringing in my own decor to see who would actually notice. It was pretty funny. I do a lot of stuff to amuse myself. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's really similar to like the fantasy basketball community that I noticed, like as one of the few like women analysts in the industry. The males were so welcoming. Mm-hmm. And I was a little bit surprised, but I mean, it was amazing. Like fantasy is just like such a tight-knit community, and it feels a lot like your situation. Like it's very similar, and that's great. We'd love to see that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I think that for me was like, it was really, yeah, really cool. Like, I really feel like with fantasy products, especially, there's so much of like gatekeeping in terms of like, there's like secret code words you have to learn, and there's things that you do during the week, and it feels like quite unsurmountable to learn on your own. And I've always kept that in mind in terms of like, how do we build stuff? Like, how do we design things to make it feel a little bit easier? Like, let's break down the barriers. Let's get more people playing, right? So that's always kind of like the mindset I bring into when I was like building these products, and then later on overseeing the team and being head of product design. So, looking after and directing the work for, our daily fantasy products, our betting products, of course, our season long, any of our casual games, and all like the awesome sports media that you consume on like, the sports.yahoo.com side. So lots of good stuff there.
So how many years did you spend on the sports side of Yahoo?
Yeah, 9 years. So
wow.
Yeah. And most of that was in design leadership. So I was really fortunate to have a voice there and being able to guide those products. And, it's not a thing of one, right? You're working with your product managers, you're working with other designers, you're working with your UXR team, your research teams, your engineering teams. And it's really in our customer service, right? Like everybody works together in order to build these really strong products for our fans and our users. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing the story. I love to hear origin stories like that. And it's so awesome to hear like things really just naturally and organically leading to each other, and it's just funny how shit works out like that sometimes. And I'm so glad that we met you and that we can keep in touch and everything. Like Erica's turned me on to like women's sport, us on to women's sports networking groups and shit. And
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I'm pumped. And now I can like proudly represent our podcast at like the NBA All-Star affiliated event.
Hell yeah.
And so Erica is also, for those of you just listening on audio, she's rocking a really sweet Valkyries hoodie. So represent our new team in the Bay.
Very stoked about the Valkyries coming. We've got some great players coming on, and
totally
wait for this season to start. It's gonna be so fun.
And Kayla is rocking a beautiful forest green sweatshirt, not a hoodie.
Yeah, sweatshirt.
Very, very becoming on you, Kayla. Your favorite color.
Yes, thank you. I figured that I had to match with the green in the background because I didn't have enough. So I went with a darker shade of green, at least until I get my Toronto Tempo sweatshirt.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Yeah, so it's a placeholder. Yeah.
Tone on tone. You can never go wrong with tone on tone.
Classic,
right? I mean, green just looks good. Like I got a green watch on. Like
Kayla,
amazing,
beautiful stuff.
I'm not obsessed at all.
So let's talk a little bit about the Yahoo Fantasy app. Since I've been playing on it since 2012 thereabouts.
Oh, cool.
And 2012. It was when I first played head to head.
Nice.
And I played on ESPN for Roto for a few years, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
This year is my first year playing Roto on the Yahoo app, and it took me a little while to get used to it. I'm still on the fence whether I like it better than ESPN or not, but for head to head, I play on Yahoo. I don't play on ESPN anymore. But I play on Fantrax. And I will say that I do, like Kayla, I prefer Yahoo. I just think it's just simpler. Fantrax just tries to do too much and try to like give you too many options.
It's too overwhelming. Yeah, like it's too many options coming at you at once.
Yeah, it's really hard. Too many windows. Like there's like fucking tabs galore and tabs within tabs within tabs.
Yep.
But I will say, okay, so Kayla and I probably agree, but I think the single best thing you guys ever did was set active lineups button.
Oh, yes.
100%.
Okay.
Fucking A.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
Lifesaver.
Set active lineup was a couple years back. And yeah.
Only that long ago. Like,
You
what
know,
the fuck? Why did it take so long to come up with that thing?
because that had been floating around for a couple years before we actually launched it, but set active lineup has been such an awesome feature. Now we also have they have this new one. I have to stop saying we because I'm no longer with the organization.
I do the same thing,
since I left in October, but I'm really proud to say, like, one of the last things that that my team worked on while I was there was the global active setting global active lineup. So right now, if you have multiple teams, and it doesn't matter, like, it can span if you're playing all 4 sports, and there is during the time where we have all 4 going on at the same time, which is very exciting, and quite exhausting if you're playing fantasy, but you can set your global lineup there, and that's pretty cool. It's a good thing. I'm also using it. So each of you, I've got a question, like, how many leagues are you in right now? Like, how many teams are you managing?
8.
I have 11, which is way too many.
Oh, whoa. Wait. Okay. Wait. So Kayla, you have 11?
11. Most of them are on
We
Yahoo.
have someone in our league that is in 21 leagues.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
That's a full-time job right there.
Literally. Because, like, even if you have, like, the set active lineup button, like, you still kind of got to go through your roster, make adjustments, drop, add people. So it's a good feature, like, if you're in a rush, which is great, or just to, like, set your lineup just to do it.
Yeah.
But you still got to take the time. And 21,
Damn.
I can barely handle 11.
Respect. I cannot believe that. That's impressive as hell. I cannot believe that. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, like, also getting back to that, you need to fine tune, right? Because they will still put people in your lineup that maybe you wouldn't put anyways, right? That you would want to sit.
On full slate days like today, you got to choose who's in your active slots, because there's going to be guys that you want benched, and
yeah, for sure. And you may be playing in, like, your formats could be slightly different, right? Depending on, like, what kind of settings that you have going on for, like, your different leagues and stuff like that. So you're making different kind of decisions, or you may be, like, fine tuning some stuff, and you want to play someone that you're not going to play in another league just to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, one thing, and I was wondering, is when you do, like, on a full slate day where you've got like 13 or maybe 15 guys playing, but you only have like 13 spots, right? And you hit set active lineups, does it automatically, and I don't think it does it automatically use the best players and puts them in the active slot, and then guys that aren't necessarily going to be as good?
Yeah, essentially. I think you've kind of sussed it out, right? You've seen it.
I don't think it does, though, because when I've set active lineups, I'll, like, fucking have James Harden in the bench when he should be in my starting guard position.
Yeah, so it's, if I remember correctly, and I think I do, it's based on their players' projection for that game. And so they're throwing people in that they think is going to be making the best points for you. They're going to have the best points for their position. And so they're putting those people in. But sometimes, there's some funniness that goes on. So you got to get in there and kind of mess with it.
For sure. Like, just don't set it, and then, like, don't even check it,
Right. There's enough, like, humanness that you should be going in and, just fine tuning, making sure that,
people don't want to think, but they should. Should care.
But you know what? Like, I will say, like, that is like a really awesome, just a general example of, like, how do we make fantasy easier for people, right? Like, we're talking about, the barrier entry is pretty high. It's pretty difficult. And so how do you kind of lower it? How do you up the enjoyment? And allow then for more time for people to like learn a little bit more, be less intimidated by going into their week or going into their day and figuring out what they need to do. So I think all those things are super important to getting more players, and especially more women players playing fantasy. So
yeah, I noticed you guys introduced like helper tools, like advice on like who you should sit start. Maybe it's like helping like break down some trade scenarios and stuff. And I was wondering, like, because the barrier of entry to start could be a little bit intimidating for some, right? For first time people on the platform, do you offer those tools gratis? Or because I know it's a paid service to get that stuff, or does everyone have to pay to get that stuff?
Yeah, there are things that we have, or I need to stop saying that.
That's okay. Don't worry about
it. There are some of the tools that are under lock and key, and you pay a subscription fee, the Fantasy Plus fee, in order to get them, and they're more kind of for the advanced user set. There are enough tools out there, like the player comparison research tools, that are free, and again, it's like part of the education and making it easier to play. And so just being able to have that highlighting in terms of like, who do you think, who in the breakdown, the expert breakdown between player A and player B, who's going to be doing better in these categories, will help everybody make a better decision. And so I think that's part of like the inclusivity and kind of equalizing, normalizing that type of data is really important.
I'm curious, actually, was there ever like the idea of creating a feature where you can see the stats from last night? Because I know like there's a last 7 days, 14, whatever. But like, I think it would be great if there was a feature where you could just see yesterday's stats. Because like as an analyst, like sometimes I'll do like things the next day, and like, because I cannot stay up late. I like to go to bed early. Like I'm that kind of person. So I can't wait until all the games are done sometimes.
Right.
I'm just curious, like if that idea was ever like in talks or anything.
It sounds very familiar. Perhaps it was, and maybe it will be in the future. I don't know. I am no longer there, but I do like what you're saying. And you're right. We cannot be up watching everything, right? And you're on the East Coast. Time zones. Exactly. And you're on the East Coast, and so with the time zone, it can be quite prohibitive. Yeah. So you want to. We also talk about the different products and different times of day. Day parting is a really important things that we had, as an organization and as designers, that we think about, like what are the things that people are going into the product to do at different times of day, and is that also reflected in their time zone? Like maybe they're not, being able to stay up really late to finish a game. But in the next morning, the expectation is that you probably want to hop on and just be like, hey, give me the highlights. Like, I want to know what happened, right? And so, I think what you're saying in terms of statistics is right. But the overarching kind of sense of what kind of information can we give people at different times of the day that would be helpful, interesting, thought-provoking, is kind of key to how we think about the product, or how I had thought about the product. Let me just put it that way.
I would love to talk about the community chat feature on Yahoo. So for every player, you can engage in the community and chat about it. My experience is like, it should not exist. I think it's 90% bullshit. And dudes just trying to like one up each other, be troll like and stuff. So I'd love your thoughts on that. And then secondly, I feel like league manager chat is like used to be more like out front in the app, and now it's kind of buried, and it's sort of like not that fun to engage with. So I was wondering, like, how did you kind of devolve that feature of like inter-manager within the same league chat?
Yeah. Okay. Which one do you want to start? What question do you want to
start with? The fucking bullshit troll chat feature.
Okay. So you're talking about on like on a player card, how there's comments and you tap into comments and then basically you either see thumbs up or thumbs down emojis. I think that, I don't know, for me personally, I thought it was kind of interesting just looking at it to figure out like, and people would ask, right? It was like, when you go in there, it's very kind of binary. And it's like the questions usually are sit or start like player A versus player B. And they would, you know, a lot of it is mentioning like, should I start this person or should I sit this person? But I also have this person, right? And then they get like ups or down voting. I don't know. For me, I always kind of got the sense of like fantasy isn't in a vacuum and that there are other people outside of your league who, you know, want to give you a little help. I don't know. Maybe that's just the warmth.
So I don't know if we're talking about two separate things. Like I'm clicking on
maybe
LaMelo Ball's player card, and in the bottom right corner it says discuss.
Let me take a look.
And then you've got like, let's just see what because he went out today with an ankle injury. Let's see what people are saying.
Hold it up on the screen so everyone can see what you're looking at.
I don't know if you can see it. So yeah, this Vegas cough. I don't want to like out people.
Oh, I see. I see what you're talking about.
Just please don't be out for an unnecessary amount of time. No one wants him now, bro. He's not coming back. Hornets are now in full tank mode. The ball bros are literal glass, LOL. Any excuse to pull him out. Like, is this doing the world any good? Like having this kind of fucking
nonsense
banter? Yeah, like I'm just his mom's the strongest one in the family. Like which might be true, actually. But
shout out to all moms, by the way.
Shout out moms,
ladies.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. I can see that. I think there's a couple things there, right? Like these conversations, as kind of like ridiculous and BS-y as they are, do feel like you're not in a vacuum, right? There's other people expressing an opinion. And I have to say, as someone who has been a little bit in a world, especially if I think back to when I was younger, like I didn't have anyone to really discuss this like last college basketball game that I watched. Like I remember watching a Duke basketball game when I was like in high school and being really excited about it, but I'm not having nobody to talk about that with, or even knowing where to engage. I think there is some, there's some amount of value in knowing that you're not alone in your fandom. And I think that's the value that like a chat like that holds. I mean, like nowadays you have text and you've got other forms of like communication, but maybe for the people that don't really have anyone else to talk to, that they just want to say anything. Huh?
That's what Discord's for, though. You just join a Discord.
I mean, hey, they can be on Discord, they can be anywhere, but yeah, I mean, like it also, I can see your side of it where it just kind of takes up space and it's not valuable in there. But I will say this, I am someone that really values user feedback and opinions. And so hearing how you feel about it, even though I no longer work on this product, is important to me. So I appreciate that you're sharing it. Honestly,
thanks.
That's cool.
I'm a hater, I just, and I'm sure, granted, the player chat is much better this year than it was last year, just because I think people are just becoming more educated about players and fantasy. And I think as just hopefully we've seen the worst of trollness on the internet. And I do feel like people are pulling back a little bit and self-policing themselves.
Yeah.
In all the different community chat rooms that I've been in. So I think that's good. It's heading in a better direction, but still like, it's nauseating sometimes. Like,
yeah,
everyone just says fucking LOL all the time. Like, really? Can you come up with anything more interesting, productive than LOL.
Right. LOL.
Yeah.
Kayla, go for it.
Oh, just go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna mention that moderation is something that is difficult, but while I was working on the product, it was important. And so as a team, we did spend a considerable amount of time trying to figure out how to make sure that the conversations there were at least going in a productive direction and not offensive, racist, disgusting. And so the product is really quick to remove that kind of stuff. There's like a list of like banned words and terms. And that for me was important too. Like that garbage has no place in this world, and it definitely does not have a place in sports. And so there's a high bar for intolerance for like that kind of very upsetting behavior. And so I'm glad that we're just being bored by LOL and not having a discussion about like how gross and racist like the comments are. So
sure,
me, I'll take a W right there. But
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh, Kayla, go for it.
I was actually going to say, like, I don't mind the community chats at all. I mean, I don't really use them very often, but I think like you're going to have trolls everywhere. That's the only thing. So even if you get rid of that community chat option, like it's just going to happen on Reddit. It's going to happen on X. Anywhere where you get your fantasy advice. That's the thing. But like, yeah, when I do go into like the chats, it's a lot of BS. There's not really as much help as I would like to see. Like it's mostly people complaining and like, trolling, whatever. And then I'll see like some people asking, oh, like, should I do this or trade this person or this?
Yeah.
And there's not really as many people helping.
Yeah.
As I wish there was. So that's my only like issue with it. But I mean, like, that's just like someone's choice of whether they want to respond or not. You know what I mean? It's not really something you can control. It's just nice to have that option that they can.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, honestly, like between the three of us, I think we really understand that if you're going to be seeking deep advice on your roster, who to start and sit, you're not going to do it in the comments section because nobody has context, who else you have on your roster, what format you're playing.
Dude, people don't care.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care. They don't care. Yeah. So like back to all of your really good point is like, you're not really getting that research there. You're going to get it elsewhere. And so, yeah.
Honestly, some people want other people to tell them what to do, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like, if you want like professional, like analyst advice, you're probably going to go to X for that. But I mean, if you need like probably like a quicker response, because I know sometimes like, analysts are busy. They're getting flooded with questions every day. Sometimes I think they think it's faster to go through community chats. Especially for like more popular players too, where there's more people active on it, they'll probably go there. But yeah, like you said, some people just like want people to tell them what to do because like it's hard to make decisions on your own, especially like tough things like sitting and starting.
Yeah, totally. Or if you wanted, if you should take this crazy trade that someone has proposed to you or whatever, I'm sure we all have in our pocket, the friend that we text to say like, hey, let's look at this together. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, it's Frank, who you know.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing.
Frank's my guru, so I always check stuff with him.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know what? There's going to be AI product that will answer all of that stuff soon. Like it's just going to be like,
oh, definitely.
Who should I start? And it'll just tell you. And then it'll like take all which unfortunately, I love getting in and finding the answers out myself, but there's a lot of people that just would rather not. And they just want like, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And like they'll be your draft buddy. They'll tell you like who to draft, like this whole AI. It's just, there's a whole opportunity for AI just to step in and just like tell you what to do and analyze players and during the season and just trains on all that shit. So
yeah, for sure. Sure.
Definitely. Yeah, for me, my fantasy buddy is my brother. Shout out to you, Christian. But he's a troll, so I mean, he's not that much better than the community chats. He's horrible. Like, we'll bounce ideas off each other and things like that. And I'll give him like genuine advice, and then I'll ask him something and he'll be like, oh, you're a dumbass, like what are you doing? And like it'll be like a fair trade or something. Like he's just I help him, he doesn't help me.
Okay.
That's basically how it goes. But he's still my fantasy buddy, so.
Oh, that's cool. Are you and him in a league together?
We're in a couple actually. So we're in like a work league.
Okay.
Because we both work at Sport Check. For the Canadians out there, you know Sport Check. And a couple other ones, just like where we need like people to fill. Like I'll get him to do those, but we usually do like separate. Yeah, because he's a troll.
He's a troll. That is so funny. Is this
he's
all
good at fantasy?
He what? Sorry?
He's good at fantasy too.
He's good at fantasy. Do you all play only basketball? And I know we are on a basketball podcast, but I'm just so curious.
Oh, it doesn't need to be just about basketball. It can be about anything.
Do you all play other season-long games aside from basketball? Any baseball? Any hockey for our Canadian friend here, Kayla?
I don't. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about other sports to, I think, like be well enough to play fantasy. My brother will, so like I'll kind of watch through that. He'll do football, hockey, baseball, all the main sports. But me, I just don't know enough. Yeah. Plus, I'd like that break from fantasy over the off season.
Got our
I see a cat.
Chauncey drive by.
Chauncey, what's up?
Oh my goodness.
Like he just knows. He knows when we're potting. So
Oh, Chauncey, so good. I have 2 cats and they're doing other things right now, but maybe they'll visit later. Oh my goodness. Yuri, how about you? Are you playing other season-long games?
That would be a negative, Ghost Rider. Yeah, I don't I only have so much in my brain that can hold stuff. And so I am just full on just basketball NBA head. But I do like I actually take that back. I did play for a couple years F1 fantasy. Because I really got into F1, but it's not as fun. So yeah.
And Erica, what about you? I know you really like baseball.
Yeah, I really like baseball. I love baseball. I love baseball stats. I love following players, and it's ridiculous. Fantasy baseball for me is super, super fun. I'm in a couple hockey leagues right now. I'm in, I think I'm in 3 hockey leagues right now, and I'm in 3 head-to-head leagues right now for basketball, and I usually play points. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
points.
I'm in 3 points head-to-head points leagues right now. I usually do a bunch of football leagues. I think this year I cut it to 7. But I've been in, I think, up to 10, and that was like a fucking nightmare. It was horrible. Not all on Yahoo. So like, you play your competitors and just learn stuff and do some, learn some cool stuff, see what everyone else is doing. But yeah, it's a lot. It's too much. It's too much to manage so much. So, but no.
Does your partner, are they into like fantasy as well?
No.
Yeah.
No. And this is had been my goal for the last 9 years to get him playing, because he and I both love baseball so much, and I think he'd very much enjoy it. But there's such a high commitment time cost with baseball, right? Because it's every single day, and you got to pay attention. No, he's we also have an 11-year-old. We got a lot of stuff going on.
So does he do the eye roll when you're like talking about how your fantasy teams are doing, or you're listening to a fantasy podcast? If you do indulge in fantasy podcasts in the car?
Yeah, I do. I don't get the eye roll. He's very respectful. Very respectful. Internal, it's like probably a very large eye roll, but yeah. I do have to say that one very tangential, embarrassing thing that happened to me once was that I was getting gas at a gas station, and I was listening to a football podcast, one of the Yahoo ones, and I was listening to it out loud. I was being extremely obnoxious, and I got so much into the podcast that I got into my car without taking out the nozzle and drove away with the tube hanging out, because I was like making notes about like my sit and start and like who I was going to try to pick up, because like so-and-so had a buy. Like it was like so much going on. And I literally started driving out with the gas station, the hose out of my car. It was horrible.
Was someone like waving at you in the back saying, "What the fuck are you doing, lady?"
No, I did not.
When did you realize then?
It makes a horrible noise. It makes a terrible noise when you pull away, and then you feel resistance when you shouldn't. And so, like many things, if you feel resistance, you should probably like, ease off a little.
Yeah.
But I am also of the mindset that almost everything is a hammer. So like, I'm just like, oh, and until I'm like, oh my God, that was terrible. But yeah, it was the Austin Eckler podcast that I was listening to, and it was so embarrassing. And literally I had it on my phone, just so loud, just,
hey,
so loud.
That's just dedication to the game though. So we
whatever it takes to win. Yeah.
It was terrible. The crazy thing also about that is I went home and I thought to my husband, I thought to myself that like, I'm going to tell my husband this really funny story about what happened at the gas station. And I ended up, as I was thinking about it, I wasn't paying attention to where I was stepping, and I fell off the side of the sidewalk that had like a little indent, and I rolled my ankle. I sprained it really badly. And so this is what happens sometimes when you have a passion and it takes over. Fantasy is fantasy can be dangerous. That's
you should never don't leave the house, Erica.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't. There's a lot of stuff.
A lot safer.
Yeah, it is.
Your house.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I'll just be here and talk to y'all all the time. This would be better. It's much safer.
Yeah. Cool. What else should we talk about? What do you have any other topics, Kayla? Burning.
Oh, I forgot to ask. How long have you been playing fantasy for?
Since 2013. Yeah.
When I joined.
Yeah. I had been very curious about fantasy before joining the fantasy team. And, that was my opportunity. So yeah, 2013. My, after my parting with Yahoo, my design team sent me a sweatshirt. I'm not wearing it today, and maybe I shouldn't, but shout out the Yahoo Fantasy Sports product design team. But I have a really amazing sweatshirt that says "Everyone's Mom established 2013," and everyone's mom is my fantasy name. It's my manager name.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Nice. Do you have the same team name every year, or do you change it up?
I have two team names. It's either Everyone's Mom or it's Elderly Lemurs, because a while ago I found this really amazing photo of this like very old lemur. And so I was like, yeah, that's a good one. But no, Everyone's Mom was the one that I first started using many years ago. And it started with, I was playing on a Devel League at work, which is like, developers play, and it's, you play all together, and then you rise in the ranks after, if you have like, if you win your season, you do good. It's a ladder league. I don't know why I'm describing it in such a weird way. I'll just say it's a ladder league. Anyways, with Everyone's Mom, that first year I was playing, every time I would play and was head to head, my opponent, I'd find a photo of their mother, and I changed my avatar to their mother, and very respectful, because I love all moms.
Yeah.
But I would dig into their Facebooks, and I would find the picture of their mother, and I would replace my photo with their photo for that weekend, or for, that Thursday through Monday.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That just reminded me of someone in one of my work leagues. So what he did last year is that every week when he was playing someone, he would change his picture, like based on that person, and his name too. So for me, he changed mine to Meg Griffin, and he put a picture of
goodness.
Meg. Oh my God. I first was like insulted, but I mean, it's all in jokes. So I was
like, Meg Griffin
from Family Guy.
Oh my gosh.
Why does she look like you?
Apparently. Hold on, I'm gonna get a picture.
Okay.
So he
I'm
trolls
missing
his
the hat.
opponent every
He
week.
trolls, yeah. And he's got a good team too.
That's really funny. See, this is the thing. Okay, I will tell you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can
Does
kind
Tell
of
me
not
see.
that's
look
not
like you.
literally me.
Oh
It
my
totally
goodness.
does. It's the glasses, I guess. The hair is
The
definitely
hair
not.
is,
But he's
yeah.
just a little
Do you
troll.
wear a
So
red beanie ever, or
never.
like a red handkerchief in your hair?
No. Never.
Mm,
I don't usually wear hats, but I guess it was just like the glasses, and
yeah.
he was just trying to get to me that week.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that is so funny. Um, that's hilarious.
So do you know Josh Lloyd?
I
I think we talked about him before, but he's
yeah,
one of our favorite like fantasy analysts, right? He's Australian. And
amazing.
he this year, and he comes up with all these like really funny, I don't know, sayings. Like he's got a lot of sayings. Like he comes up with nicknames for all the players that are completely obscure, and you have to go like 3 steps in order to figure it out.
Yeah.
Something Australian is inevitably referenced in that chain. But he came up with this really funny name. Well, first he was saying like, because there's people in chat that say like, oh, you're in a taco league, or I'm in a really highly competitive league, and so he was making fun of those people
Okay.
and people that were saying like, oh, I'm platinum level or I'm diamond level, or
Oh, they're referencing their philos. Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Yeah.
what
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
call them?
Philos, fantasy elo.
Oh God. Okay, yeah, Philo
Philo.
Does. So he came up with this graphic when he's talking about really deep league waiver pickups.
Yeah.
He calls them like the double diamond, onyx, platinum pickups. And he come up with this like diamonds and jewels animating graphics. Pretty sweet graphic actually. But
That's
that is
hilarious.
something that was inspired by your Philos. So
Oh,
shout out.
amazing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Boy. Okay, so what I love about that is that there is so much joy that fantasy brings people that don't
Mhm.
even directly have to do with playing fantasy, right? It's all that indirect stuff. It's the fact that fantasy brings people together, right? The three of us having this like ridiculously amazing conversation about fantasy, Josh Lloyd and his inside jokes that his followers have to figure out. And yes, I've listened to his podcast, and like half the time I'm like, what is he talking about? I feel like I've got to take notes right now. And like it's good, but it's also so distracting because of my personal brain where I'm like, what did that actually mean? But no, like mad respect for Josh Lloyd, man. So funny. But right, it's that camaraderie. It's the X months out of the year that you are playing whatever kind of season long game you are with those 10, 12, God, I hope not 16 people. That's way too many in a league. But like
No, the
that,
deeper the better.
damn.
That's
Okay,
what she
then
said.
you nothing. Okay. No. That is so hard. Then your waiver
That's what
wire
she
is
said.
just garbage. It's just trash. It's terrible. It is terrible.
That's what makes it really fun, though.
Oh
You're
my
like
God.
scraping the barrel, man.
I don't know. I like
must
it and I
love-
don't.
You
Yeah.
must love trades. You must love.
I
Are
like
you
trading,
just
yeah.
He does.
crazy? Like here is like 3 of my players for like 2 of yours, or like just
3 for
ridiculous.
1's good because
Yeah.
in one of my leagues I had a really phenomenal draft, and
Oh.
I had literally too many good players.
Oh.
Because I had been like working the IL plus, like just
Yeah.
swapping guys out. But one day it was just like, oh great, everyone's healthy. What the fuck am I gonna do?
Shit.
Because I love streaming too. So it's like not having an open spot is just like it just kills me. So I was
Schemer.
floating like
Yeah.
3 for 1's out there, but nobody bit. So I
It's
got
hard.
really mad about that.
See, it's this camaraderie, right? It's like the fact that you can bring people together that don't see each other during the year, that maybe don't even talk to each other, but for that period of time, that's magic. It's important. It's that camaraderie. It's the humans in all of
It's
it.
such a tight knit community, and I love that. Like I never would have thought that it would have been like this because I started playing fantasy like 2 or 3 years ago now.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
never would have like guessed that it would have like steamrolled into this. Like it's fantastic, and being able to engage with everyone.
Yeah.
I love
That's amazing, right? And like that really also wants me to like I want to bring this point to the table too, that like, as a person that oversees this product, right, from the product design side, it was really important for me to build really diverse, equitable teams with people from diverse backgrounds and cultures and social economic and, and like, different like feelings of who they are as a human, like all of that being brought to the table is a reflection of everyone who also loves sports and loves products. And so I'm really proud to say that the teams that I built were also like, many of them half women were on the team, women, men, and from all different backgrounds. And like, that to me was really important. And so you get different perspectives being brought to the table, things that you would have never even thought about or considered. But that is the kinds of things that are so important when you're building products, that you don't just build it from one perspective for one audience, that you're building it for everybody. And that also includes like building products that are accessible. And one of the things that at my time at Yahoo on fantasy is really proud of, that the whole team, everybody, the entire organization made it a priority to build products that were universally being used by everyone. And so that includes the All Blind Fantasy League that was still commissioned by Brian Fischler. He's amazing. But everybody on the team had a vision impairment. They were all blind. And so, but they were able to use the product just as easily as a sighted person. And prioritizing that amount of time to make sure that our products are equitable and can be used by everybody is something that is part and parcel to fundamentally like how I think about how products should be built. So made me really proud to be part of that, and just have that instilled as part of the culture of building is really fundamental, really super
That's so
important.
cool. Was it an NFL league?
Amazing.
Yeah, they have an NFL league. I have to follow up with Brian to know if they play other like sports too. But yeah, it's a football league that they play in. They've been around for a while.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's all good stuff, and all that stuff takes a lot of effort. It's not like one team does it and it's the responsibility of like a small group. It's really the responsibility of a lot of people. The engineers take time into coding things. Designers take time in making sure that what we are building, all of the touch points, any of the interactions match that. And then, for our accessibility team and our product team to prioritize those features. That's super, super important. So
yeah. It says good things about Yahoo, that they're able to prioritize something that won't necessarily be a huge moneymaker, but is just doing right by your customers and your users. So
yeah,
shout out Yahoo for that.
Yeah, a lot of, I left in October, a lot of great people building incredible products. So still super, super proud of all the folks that I had the pleasure and honor of working with. So good stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you want to like whisper in someone's ear still there about my idea so I had this idea, like, I'm really against like daily fantasy. I've played daily fantasy. I've played on FanDuel and DraftKings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've played a little bit on Yahoo, a little bit on Underdog. And I really feel like it is, and people are going to be like, oh, she's fucking on her high horse. Like, da, 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 da. I don't care. This is how I feel. I really feel it's an evil empire. And it really takes advantage of people's weaknesses, just like Vegas, same thing. Like, you really take advantage of people's weaknesses. And the notion of giving you money when you start up an account to keep that habit going is really, really hard. Like, I mean, I read a really great article, I think it was in the Atlantic, of somebody that had a daily fantasy gambling addiction. And he went through his whole, like, how he started, how they kept going, how they were like paying him to keep going, and he ended up losing so much money. and being really ashamed about it and everything. That I just feel like it happens more often than we know.
Yeah.
And like little like really fast talk, have a gambling problem, call what at a little like, at the end. It's not fucking good enough. Like I feel like gambling daily fantasy platforms, because it is fun. Like it's a fun thing to do. If you can keep it in check. And I think if platforms are able to provide safeguards for its customers and its users by reminding people that it's fun, and giving support, mental health support to keep their customers healthy, then I think it's for the good of everybody involved. And if I were playing on a platform that really went out of its way to do that, to make sure that like you're doing okay, like you're having fun, but listen, like maybe you should slow your roll a little bit, or maybe you want to talk to one of our counselors just about like maybe some anxiety that you're feeling or something. That would keep me on the platform and keep me more like, it would develop more of an affinity for that brand, for me. So I just think there is an opportunity to make daily fantasy just a little bit more safe,
Yeah, I think safety is key, right? And like social responsibility is super important. Your idea is so interesting, Yuri. It's almost like Headspace meets, I think you should build it. You should do this. You should do this. I mean,
like maybe there's like, maybe there are only certain hours within your day that you can tweak your lineups or set your lineups or whatever. And it's, and maybe it like, comes with like a music library that really calms you, and like
meditation about,
because when I draft, I like light a candle and I do aromatherapy while I'm drafting, and I put on like ambient music because it's so stressful for me doing the draft with like my multiple screens and shit that I need like comfort and care around me.
Oh, I that's so oh my God. That's amazing. That's amazing. I am excited for you need to pitch this. You need to build this. I think it'd be so cool. It'd be very cool. It could be a bitches, like branded experience.
Maybe we work on it together, Erica.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, lots of good stuff in the future. I think this is cool. See, I mean, like this is exactly what I'm talking about. People with like diverse perspectives coming to the table with their unique take and experience, their like life experience there to like influence how products are built for the better. That's exciting. I mean, like your idea in a million years would have never come out of my head, but I respect that. And I think there's something really valuable in these conversations. It's really cool. Yeah.
We're changing the game.
Changing the game, my friends, right? So true. It's so true. And this is such an amazing time right now for women's sports. There are so many things that are going on. That, just really exciting, right? Shout out like all the expansion teams with the WNBA, all the love that women's college sports are getting right now. I'm going to mess this up. What was it? The PWHL, the Women's Hockey League. There's like so much happening, unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 format that they're playing in Miami right now. Yeah. I mean, there's like, there is so much happening that is going to force a change for good in the way that we invest in sports, the way that sports are sponsored, the way that women in sports and athletics are, are being empowered and bolstered. There is so much that we are just kind of sitting at the cusp of. And it's exciting. It's so cool to see that. And again, like me as a mom to an 11-year-old girl who's an athlete and is someone who is really excited about softball, right? Like that's her thing. And I want to be able to support that. But she also has like a deep passion for empowerment in youth sports. And so all of that is really key. And like thinking about that as a whole movement, really cool, really good stuff.
And I think now is the perfect time to ask, who is your badass bitch of the week?
Damn. Okay. There's so many, my friends, right? I really think that right now I'm going to shout out Dawn Stanley, right? She's the head coach for South Carolina, and they're having a monster season. And you know, she's just really great. She's a super inspirational person.
I fucking love her style. Her style is nice.
Yeah. It really is, right? She pushes, she has such a high bar for her athletes, but she's also like, you know, very real. And yeah, she's just so amazing. Really cool. So yeah, shout out to Dawn Stanley. She's fantastic. So
is it Stanley or Staley?
Oh shit. I don't know. I'm very
I think
not
it's Staley. That's all right. We know who you're talking about.
There we go. Dawn Staley. Thank you so
Staley,
much. So
yeah.
if
Great
Dawn
pick.
hears me, you know, I have mad love for you, Dawn. So apologies for messing up your last name. So
that's a great pick.
Yeah, yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah, there's some really cool players coming out of Cal right now too. Women's basketball. Shout out Cal women's basketball.
Go Bears.
Lots of stuff. Yeah, go Bears, man. Lots of good stuff out there. So lots of really amazing women doing incredible things. Isn't it great that it's hard to pick? Like,
oh
yeah,
totally.
we have this problem every single week. Like it is so
Yeah.
hard to pick just one woman, you know? Like
yeah. So great. So cool.
Well, next year we're going to start a WNBA fantasy league, so you're definitely going to be in there.
Oh,
and
thanks. Cool.
the more women we have, the deeper it's going to get. So
that's right.
yes, leagues,
ESPN.
baby.
Can't wait.
All right. Well, you have any other questions for us, Erica? Anything burning?
Deep burning questions. I don't know. I should. I don't right now. It's just been so fun. I feel like I haven't had to like hold back on my questions. I've been just like flowing with you all. So
Yeah,
thanks
that's
for that.
how we roll.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to invite you to our Discord too, so you can meet the ladies. They can ask you questions and all that stuff. So, well, Kayla, let's not get caught.
Let's keep going.